What just happened, guys? What just happened? The first qualifying of this new era for Formula One. Let's just put the question out there because that's what we love to do on the Inside Line F1 podcast. We love to get your opinions along with ours and let's make it a full fun discussion with everything. But the first big question we have to answer is, did we enjoy that? Did we enjoy that, Kunal? Did we really?
Don't put me on the spot. Do not put me on the spot. But
It's just a question of enjoyment. Did you enjoy qualifying?
I would say neutral. It was not
Come on.
as I actually thought qualifying would be more fun than the race. I thought so. But truthfully,
Hmm.
maybe Max Verstappen not being a part of it took a lot of that joy away because Mercedes just ran away with it. And Charles Leclerc has admitted maybe Mercedes did not use full power even in qualifying. And that's exactly what I had tweeted because Mercedes were not pushed.
Rubbish.
I don't think they went full
Rubbish.
power. You think they went full power?
Yeah, I mean, surely, right? Is there more to it?
Oh,
Like,
I am very sure there's more to it, Soumil.
apart from being like 3 to 5 tenths off everybody every single lap, is there more power to unlock for Mercedes? Are you kidding
Ye-
me?
Absolutely. Let's look at it. Mercedes were half a second ahead of everyone else, right? If you look at Hadjar and actually 8 tenths. Sorry, Hadjar was half a second off Antonelli. So Mercedes ended up going 8 tenths quicker than the rest of the field. Leclerc's prediction, and he's going to have fantastic opportunities to do television broadcast, expert commentary, whatever you call it, after his career, because he said we all thought it'll be, a couple of tenths or thereabouts, but they pulled out. He said half a tenth is what he was going, or half a second.
Wow.
He said half a second was the gap everyone in the paddock was assuming. He's giving away a lot of paddock information, right? Then he said they pulled 8 tenths in qualifying, right? And he said they will pull just under a lap every lap in the race. Will Charles Leclerc, will his predictions come true?
Yes, they will. Because there is no secret, there is no hiding it anymore. Mercedes are the favorites. There is no doubt about it. We told you so, guys. We told you so. As we welcome Ankita and Sandy as well. Hey, Kunal. Hey, Soumil. Guys, what was this quali? Hand on my heart, I enjoyed this qualifying. I enjoyed it. Maybe I enjoy Formula One way too much and looking at the intricacies and who's doing well and why they're doing well and why they're not doing well and who's crashed out and why someone stalled or what cooling intake is foreign on the track and just how it blasts off. Maybe these small little things excite me as a Formula One nerd, but generally we'd love to know how you guys enjoyed qualifying as well. But for me, Kunal, it's very alarming to see that Mercedes are so far ahead. And I got the chance to look at some telemetry after free practice 3 just to compare Hamilton and Russell's laps. It's insane how the Mercedes is just able to deploy more and is able to get to a higher top speed and is able to deploy faster and just has more battery available. And I know that's going to be the major talking point, the battery, but just generally watching the car in qualifying as well, it looked so stable. Like that Mercedes is planted.
That Mercedes is planted. Is it a surprise? No. All the preseason predictions we made, all the preseason expectations have been more than met. The only question is what is really the gap? How much are they still holding on given that they were barely pushed whatsoever? I mean, Kimi Antonelli, without a qualifying setup, right? He crashed in FP3 because of Max Verstappen's crash in Q1, got more time to get his car repaired. He went out without a setup, is what Toto Wolff said, Sommel. And guess what? He put it in P2 just 3 tenths off George Russell. That's dominance already on display. Is it going to break Formula One? Is the question that we should ask ourselves.
It's going to be interesting. I think prepare yourselves for another 2014. It will happen. The only question is Antonelli good enough to match up to George Russell? But hey, we'll get to that in a second. Generally, let's take a few comments to get a sense check and get a vibe about how we all have enjoyed this first qualifying session. And we've got quite a few interesting opinions that are very similar to what we've got, Kunal. Bharat is saying super clipping must be renamed to terrible clipping. I know. Like, if you want to make a clip out of this, be a social media editor, I hate the fact that turn 9 and 10 has been sacrificed for energy saving. I hate it. It's the most
Can you?
depressing thing. You see the
Yes,
car come up and the rev slow, and it's dying.
and it is not because of the cars being different. It's not because tires are narrower. It is not because drivers are not being all bold and ballsy about it. It is purely for energy management. I remember that track dominance graphic coming up. Charles Leclerc was quicker than George Russell on every other corner except for turns 9 and 10. So what Mercedes is doing is they are able to optimize turn 9 and 10 and pull out that gap just on a part of the circuit. And you know what? I miss Soumil. This should have been a conversation that, oh my God, look at that lap. You know, in the high speed corners, this is what happened. In the low speed corners, this is what happened. This is when, Charles was braking early and carrying more speed, and George was braking late and carrying lesser speed. That's what qualifying is all about, putting a car on the limit, seeing if a driver is able to dance with that car on the limit. Did you did you get a feeling of seeing that in this qualifying?
Only with Lindblad, honestly. Only with Lindblad. Because obviously there's more context to it. We know it's his first time. We know he's an 18-year-old. We know everyone else is learning how to drive a Formula One car in a new way, but for him, it's just learning how to drive a Formula One car. So you could just, I don't know, just watching his onboards, you felt happy. You felt a different vibe watching his car, but everyone else, no, I, I did not enjoy it. I mean, it was fine. It was an enjoyable qualifying session overall because lots of mystery and we got a lot of questions answered. And by that logic, I'm a happy Formula One fan. But if this same qualifying session were to happen 22 times, what is it? Yeah, 22 now because two races might probably get cancelled. If the same qualifying session happens 22 times over and over again, I will be bored. I want to see the cars being chucked into a corner.
Also, let me put it this way. You were talking of Arvid Lindblad because you have a very soft spot corner for him, because Arvid was driving pretty much at the same pace as everyone else. So, was he also dancing on the limit? I am not very, very sure of that. Yes, he did a commendable job, top three, Racing Bulls, best of the rest. Again, something not that we predicted in the preseason. But my goodness, this is going to be very, very difficult to I don't know, fall back in love with, if that's the word I can use. But why don't we get to this? I have a question for you.
What do we not like about it?
What
What
do
do
we
we
not
not
like?
like about this new qualifying?
I think it's just that what the drivers are saying, energy management, right? Charles Leclerc said, we just had energy management issues in Q2, and that was it. That was the end of our qualifying. Max Verstappen, the best driver since a long, long time. What do we like about him? His car control. When was the last time did we see Max not able to catch a car? You remember Sanford last year? He was trying to battle the McLarens into turn three. He caught that car. And guess what? He comes out of the car after Q1 crash and he says, even at those speeds, I was not able to catch the car. And what happened? For the first time in my career, I had the real axle locking. So when you've got the best drivers not being tested on what they are best at, what are they best at? Why do they call it the best driver? We are not calling them the best energy manager, the best driver.
Is that what you're calling George Russell, the best energy manager?
Take nothing away from him. He got a dominant car. He's driving what he can do with that car. He will say he loves this formula for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the first time in history that Formula One drivers are going to be asking themselves, did I enjoy driving a Formula One car? I don't think in over 70 years of Formula One has anyone ever asked themselves the question, did I enjoy driving that Formula One car? Okay, maybe after 2022 when the porpoising started coming up. But even then, once the lap time started coming, people did start to enjoy those cars. But I think it's the first time in history the drivers are going to look back in a mirror and ask, did I enjoy that? And the whole drama about the straight zones also happened, right? So if you guys don't know, we were supposed to have we do have four straight zones. Before FP3, the FIA said we're only going to have three. Then the teams and drivers revolted. They said, "What the hell? You can't change things immediately, like with such little leeway. So put the straight zone back, and we'll figure things out. Like let's go back to what we have gathered data for." And so the FIA have rescinded that decision. So there are four straight zones. And then, while that was a point of discussion in the drivers' briefing, I read an article that said that there was also energy management and these driving and this sort of driving style. That was also one of the main talking points of the drivers' briefing, and some very colorful language was used by some drivers. Now, I've had the privilege of being part of some drivers' briefings, at least at a national and a regional championship level. I know what the tension's like, and if I just imagine it to a Formula One driver level and about what the drivers will be saying about these cars, I really want to be a fly on the wall at those drivers' briefings, Kunal. I really do.
Let's hope you get there one day, given all the work you get to do in the world of motorsport. Soumil, absolutely rooting for you to be a part of the drivers' briefings. Although you won't be there as a commentator, then you got to join the FIA, which is also not a
Exactly.
bad thing. But
Not bad, yeah.
one question for you: we've discussed Mercedes not being full beans because Max Verstappen was not a part of Q3. Do you think Max Verstappen would have been in the battle for pole position had he been in Q3? Here are some numbers before you get there. Kimi Antonelli was 3 tenths of George Russell. Okay, Isaac Hadjar was 8 tenths of George Russell. Do you think Max would have slotted in that same spot, or do you think Max could have at least taken the battle to Antonelli?
Not today. I don't think today Max would have been able to. Maybe six races down the line, we get to see how special Max Verstappen is, and maybe those 8 tenths become 2 tenths because of the Max Verstappen effect. But not today, man. Today, Mercedes were just incredible. Like,
We are going to say this every
incredible.
possible day we can. I get a
Yeah.
feeling Max may have just been a few thousandths off of, or a few thousandths ahead of Kimi Antonelli. That's my feeling. Remember, Antonelli's not had the cleanest of sessions, and he's still in Q2. He crashed in FP3, got out
Yeah.
late in Q1, went off track trying to push in the qualifying hour as well. So I just get a feeling, Antonelli would have been under more pressure if Max would have been there. But let's take some comments. Let's ask Lando if he enjoyed it today after he mocked Max for saying so at testing. Well, Lando did also, rescind his comment.
That's
He
a
took it
good
back.
one, Sandy. That is a good one. You cheeky bugger. You should yeah, you should be a part of the Red Bull Racing communications team. Like that mindset, the us versus them. When you watch Drive to Survive, you see Christian Horner constantly, and you see him just mocking Zach Brown and mocking the other team principals. You have got it, Sandy. You have got it.
Okay, and Lando Norris had gearbox issues. He had energy deployment issues. He hit the radiator cooling. That was another strange thing that happened to Kimi Antonelli as well. Talking of not having the cleanest of qualifying sessions out there. But what else have we got? Maybe the Ferraris. Do you think they are going to be good at the start tomorrow? That's what everyone's been
That's the
hoping
big
for.
question. That's the big question. Normally we do what to expect from the race a little bit later, but let's just get to it right now. Because very clearly, pole position may not even matter tomorrow. If Ferrari are genuinely that good at the start, I don't think pole position can matter. Like, sure, you would want track position, and it could be a case of a Formula 3 type start, where some drivers start very slowly, faster cars are coming from behind. I do not wish this upon anyone, not the marshals, not the drivers, not the engineers, not the mechanics. It's a horrible situation to have. But genuinely, if there is seriously a big pace difference between the Ferrari and the other cars in terms of starting, you could see some drivers punt into the back of the other people, or at least have close shaves or avoid them. And for
We did see that even qualifying, right? Drivers were complaining about just
yeah,
exactly that. And, Bharat is here saying nearly 20% of the cars had reliability issues already. Stroll didn't get out. Carlos Sainz didn't get out. Max Verstappen didn't put a lap in. Bortoleto almost made it through. He made it to Q3, but didn't get to participate in Q3 as well. And Bharat is saying he expects 15 cars will finish the race tomorrow. Samuel, that's not very far away from your number. You said 17, I said
I said
16.
17. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bharat's at 15, not too bad. Which means that Audi in a great
Well,
spot to try and score points if they have to.
That's a very interesting thing because I am now just taking my mind back to the 2014 Australian GP. Quick Wikipedia check to see how many cars finished that race. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but maybe this is a good idea to do a bold prediction now. So Bharat said 15 cars will finish. I said 17, Kunal said 16 earlier. In the 2014 Australian Grand Prix, how many cars do you think finished, Kunal? Do you remember?
Firstly, there would have been 24 cars racing then.
22.
22,
22.
same as. I think 12 cars finished that race.
13.
13
13 cars
hour.
finished and only 10 were on the same lap. The last time Formula One had a major regulation change like this. Let's do a bold prediction, guys. How many cars finish on the same lap as Mercedes? You want to do that? I think it's a fun thing to do, right? Because Russell's Q3 lap 1 minute 18.518. If we just go to the driver in P11, just because P10 we kind of use that as a gulf difference. Uh, Nico Hulkenberg's best lap in Q2 was a 1 minute 20.3, so that's roughly a second and a half in a qualifying lap. Uh, how many laps do we have? 54
He was
tomorrow? 50.
1.36 of the fastest in Q2, Nico Hulkenberg. Yeah, yeah.
Do you think do you think 10 drivers or rather 12 drivers will be lapped tomorrow?
I get a feeling so. Absolutely. In fact, why don't we ask ourselves the other question then? Do you think Lance Stroll is going to get to start the race? He's not had a single lap in the Australian Grand Prix weekend up until qualifying within the 107%. The last
Someone's listening to the Inside Line F1 podcast. Someone's been hearing us for the last 4 years and our cry of having a better second driver in Aston Martin. Someone's been listening.
wow.
Yeah, no?
But
Like,
his 107% means he will actually become, in recent times, a third driver after Pedro Della Rosa, who was recently a guest on our show, and also Naren Karthikeyan to not be allowed to start a race. And I think that was 2012, if I'm not mistaken, when that
yeah, I think
happened
so.
in Melbourne as well, right?
But
Okay.
elite company. Like we have one of those three drivers on the Inside Line F1 podcast. Surely we can get Naren Karthikeyan too. It's not impossible. Then Lance Stroll is the next one. So we need to complete the trifecta.
Yeah, yeah.
Good racing drivers, by the way. Like
Yes.
nothing against any of them,
Sandy
but yeah.
Sandy's saying maybe Lindblad's Nani will do a prayer for them tomorrow. They should imagine points on debut. That would be perfect.
She's so sweet. I think she's going to be there for the first race weekend as well.
I would
It'll
hope
be
so.
nice. It'll be
And
nice.
KSGM has, of course, pointed out that they've changed the starting procedure. Yes, they're going to have a different starting procedure from what we've been used to all along. They're going to have some lights to make sure that the drivers actually wait while their turbos spin up. And hopefully nobody hits anti-stall and everyone gets a good getaway. Another Ferrari advantage numbed, you believe, Soumil, if you were to look at how fast the Ferraris are going to be, or at least have been in at the race starts.
Yeah, that could be a case. It's interesting. This whole qualifying session, I thought Lewis Hamilton would outclass Charles Leclerc. Honestly, the way he was going along, the way he was driving, I genuinely thought by the time Q3 comes in, this could be the first time, at least in my memory, that Hamilton would beat Leclerc clean in qualifying. But there's something about Leclerc. There is really something about Leclerc. He was able to pull out that lap time, and now that I look at the gap, just 1/10 between Leclerc and Hamilton finally in Q3, in spite of Leclerc being on the back foot all along. So kudos to him. Very interesting time in his life as well. Now that he's married and
You
did you
Leclerc was
not
married,
know?
of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, what? Hamilton got married? Anyway, Lewis Hamilton actually said post qualifying that if they got Q3 perfect, he would have been P3 Sommel. That's where he's going. He said we had power unit issues in Q2. Ferrari apparently did not plan to go out on the soft. So he put pressure. I remember reading this on the radio as well. He put pressure on them saying we need to go out and get a lap. And then Lewis Hamilton believes they did not extract full performance from their package. And that's why they were not. That's why they were not P3. The one big positive for me in qualifying was, of course, we've discussed how the Lindblads of the world, Lawsons of the world were there, Audi was there as well, but the gaps between some of the drivers were a big positive, because if we look at
Yeah.
the Q1 eliminations, of course, we had Verstappen, Sainz, and Stroll not putting a time altogether. So they're going to be at the discretion of the stewards to let them enter the race and join on the start grid. Okay, that's happens all the time. Uh, Fernando Alonso was 2.4 seconds off pole position, and Fernando literally said, imagine by just running the car, we found 2 seconds. We need to just find ways to run the car more. He actually said that from FP1 to 3 to Q1, they found 2 seconds. So he said the performance in the car is there. They just need to make sure that they find ways to run the car. And I think that's a very interesting insight, because up until now, we've been laughing at Aston Martin's lack of reliability. We've not yet seen them put a lap where you can compare them on performance, Somal.
Yes, but that's the same like you get out on one and you're like, we're just 99 runs away from a century. Oh, if I would have stayed on the crease, I would have gotten faster and I would have gotten to that century. But you need to stay on the crease, dude. Like, you can't get out. And that's the. We'll see. We'll see. Like, it's. If I can summon my inner Max Verstappen, if my grandmother had grandfather things, she'd be my grandfather. Like,
But
you need to put the car on track.
I fully understand the humor, Somal, but there's an interesting driver insight. Fernando Alonso would have gone to his engineers and said, you know what, we're anyway going to park it in the race. Give me that one lap where I can push to see where we get. Because this is the fastest lap Aston Martin did all weekend long. It is no coincidence that it happened in Q1. Is this a glimpse of performance? Is that glimpse what Fernando wanted? Is that what he wanted to give to us as all his fans, his commentators? I would guess so, Somil.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like,
Really? For me,
whatever.
it's the opposite. I'm like, wow, that Aston Martin needs to figure and do what it needs to do to continue to do more laps, because they do have some
Exactly.
performance there.
But we said the same thing with McLaren back in 2017 as well. I mean, I remember being the biggest McLaren fanboy. If you want to verify that, go check my Facebook. Like, my entire profile was McLaren Honda at that point, because that's what I had grown up reading and watching movies about, the McLaren Honda days of the past. I was so hyped. I said, this chassis is more like it. They have something with this chassis. They just need to fix the power unit. And look at how wrong I was. Like, it was it needs everything to come together, and until that happens, I'm not buying it. Like,
Yeah,
we'll see.
don't buy it, but at least look for it, and hope that maybe
Like
that
it's
something
just
can
a
happen.
it's a glorified blame game now, isn't it, Kunal? Like, oh, we did this lap and we have this from our chassis. Honda now needs to be prepared.
Yes,
When
there is a lot of finger pointing, especially when Adrian Newey said it was only in November 2025 when he, Lawrence, and Andy Cowell made a trip to Tokyo, which is by the way a long flight, that they realized how understaffed Honda was, which doesn't add up, right? Or
do you want to do a short, like, I just want to pretend, okay, as if you're Aston Martin and I'm the Honda engineers, the first time they met in November 2025. What would that conversation be like? Start out, Kunal. You're Aston Martin coming to meet us for the very, very first time. Here we go.
you're not even bowing back to me, because that's what
Sorry.
you do.
What do they say? Arigato? No, arigato is thank you. They say, all of our folks don't know
Sayonara,
Japanese.
sayonara is bye
Sayonara
bye.
is good.
Maybe they
Maybe,
just
maybe
said sayonara. I think, we are not ready. So sayonara.
but first thing you do, Kunal, as Andy Cowell, as Adrian Newey, as Lawrence Stroll, you walk into the Honda factory. What's the first thing you say? Like,
Show me the engine. Like, just show me where's the engine, who all are working on it. Assemble the team, and we got to see what we've got to see. That's what I would do, literally. And then, understand what their dyno tests are looking like, what the numbers are looking like. And I wouldn't do it in November 2025. I would do it in, I don't know, November 24, if I may call it that.
and then me as Honda san, my response would be, oh yeah, team. Yeah, yeah. Look, 10 people. We have 10 people working on it. Have they worked on Formula One? No,
But
they
they know
can.
people who worked on
They
Formula
know
One,
people
who,
who worked on Formula
by
One.
the way, are
Yeah.
in the Red Bull powertrains factory. We called them. They refused to come back. They love the weather in the UK. They even get sushi out there. Sorry, I'm being stereotypical. But
No, but it's oh my god, like, oh, so you're the same team that won the constructors world championship with Red Bull Racing, right?
Con-
Yes, 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 yes.
Konnichiwa. Sandy's reminding us. It's Konnichiwa. I think so, right, Sandy? Unless you're putting us down a path.
No, it's Konnichiwa.
Satpati is asking, can we watch F1 and Hindi commentary? Yes, Soumil Arora
Yes,
and I will be there on Fan Code Live tomorrow, along with Chetan Narula as well. You will be able to watch us, hear us on the official F1 broadcast in Hindi on Fan Code. By the way, did you see the interesting message from the legends that Fancode put out, Somil? Because Pedro Della Rosa and David Coulthard have actually said exactly what we've just said, that you can watch Formula One in Hindi and Tamil on Fancode again this season. Isn't that exciting?
that is so cool. Much respect to DC. I love DC. Such a good lad, and to Pedro De La Rosa as well for sending that message. Thank you, guys. We it's it's so special that there are two people who we've grown up watching, endorsing the work that we do. It's DC and Pedro De La Rosa have said watch fan code and F1 in Hindi. Thank you, guys. Thank you to fan code as well.
I love that our comments are going wild on what's the Japanese word for hello, but okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think there's going to be a hello when Adrian Newey and Lawrence Stroll walk in. It's just going to be, what the hell is this? What have you done? Where
And
are my
Lawrence doesn't
batteries?
walk in, he strolls in. So
Nicely done. Nicely done. But can you imagine this being the biggest power unit farce ever? Like, sorry, as much as you want to point fingers on Honda, if this is indeed true, and sorry for bringing this up now in a qualifying show, when the top talking points should particularly be qualifying what's happened, but we probably may not be able to talk about it as much later on. Maybe they fix it. But to think of it, Kunal, that Aston Martin, according to the rumors, only found out late last year that Honda only had 30% of the workforce compared to what they had when they were with Red Bull Racing, and they were criminally underprepared. When it had been 2 years since they signed the contract with them, it's you can't just blame Honda for that, can you? You can't just blame Honda for that.
not at all. And in fact, there's a message, there's a comment from DJ, I don't know, DJ, saying Newey actually made this weird remark about Honda engineers working on solar panels or something. Yes, my my reaction was the same. Just seemed like a lot of blaming on Honda. And we'll get to see. There's also a point that, do you think Red Bull powertrains hired people from Sakura? And
They
I find
did.
this, they did, because
They did.
when Honda exited the sport, they actually sold their IP to Red Bull, and Red Bull were running the homologated or maintaining the homologated Honda engines till they were being in use till last year. So a lot of engineers moved on to Red Bull Racing, and they didn't move back. Yes, so that's the story. But should we move on? Because there are more gaps that I want to point out, which got interesting. So Q1, the gaps were just ridiculous, especially the ones who got eliminated. In Q2, Nico Hulkenberg got out qualified by Bortoleto. They were 12-12
Mhm.
last year. It's already 1-0 this year against Hulkenberg's favor. But Hulkenberg was 800ths away from Q3. Again, the reason why I point out these gaps is, yes, the power units and energy management were the headlines, but qualifying was still qualifying. Drivers were still trying to do the fastest laps they could do with those cars, power units, and the tires. Then Behrman was 8 thousandths of Nico Hulkenberg. Ocon was a tenth away. Gasly was again 100th away from Ocon. So it is still close in there when you actually hit that sweet spot of whether it's the top four or the middle four teams, because we again saw that gap in Q3, which we spoke of. P4, which was Leclerc was just 200ths off Harjar. right? So Lewis Hamilton saying he could have gotten P3 is not too far away when you talk of it. PS3 was, 500ths away from Charles Leclerc. Norris was just about a tenth away from PS3, and Hamilton 3,000ths away from Lando Norris. Last year, when Lewis Hamilton was seventh, he would be upset. He walked out in Australia and said, "Guess what? We actually have the pace to be P3," and he was happy with P7 this time.
You forgot the most important one. Cadillac being three oceans away from the rest of the teams. Sorry, you can just make fun of it because whatever. But no, in all honesty, yeah, the gaps have been very interesting. Also, kudos to Oliver Behrman for pulling a rabbit out of his hat in the final qualifying sessions because leading up to Q2, Esteban Ocon was absolutely toying around with Behrman. I think he was 5 tenths up in Q1. And then Behrman got that critical lap in Q2 that Ocon just couldn't. And that was, I think, tenth and a half the difference between the two of them. So kudos to Oliver Behrman. Well done after being on the back foot for the entire weekend. And also, Kunal, I think the biggest applause of this qualifying session, without a doubt, I think it has to go to Audi, right?
Yes. We almost thought they will be the ones fighting elimination in Q1, but here they were both cars on the edge of Q3. Yes, Max Verstappen not being there probably gave one extra spot, and guess what? But that's when you need to be. You need to grab the spot when it is available and open. So Audi definitely one of those, and I wish Bortoleto not making it to the control line and those kind of rules would have been more relaxed because you want to see 10 cars in Q3, not 9 because your driver stopped, 20 meters before that line because there was again down to power unit issues. But yeah, it's just what it is. And Hamilton was really close to Leclerc. Again, DJ is saying that Rawai is your first comment. The IP from Honda was not transferred to Red Bull powertrains. Yes, I think Red Bull just hired Honda as consultants to run those homologated power units. That's probably what has happened. We can get into the depth of that if we want to, but we're 32
We
minutes
should
in.
figure, yeah.
Yeah. What else do we want to talk about? What else surprised you from qualifying, Soumil?
The fact that Laura Muller and Hannah Schmitz now have a corner named after each other.
In her corner.
In that does not sound right. No,
Th-
I do not like the name.
that's the
It's
name, In Her Corner. I think that's fantastic, isn't it?
no. What do you mean in her corner?
That's the name of the corner. That's the initiative that they that's been named
In
after
her
them.
what? Like what? What? Sorry, that's very grotesque of me to say, but what in her? Like what the? What's that name? It's called the Schmitz Muller corner or something. Just keep it simple. What the hell is in her corner? Like call it her corner or like
Okay,
I
I
don't
don't know where
know.
Soumil Arora is going with this. I want to know what you are thinking about the race tomorrow. What do you expect?
Uh the T pose.
You
That's
think
what I
so?
expect from tomorrow. That's what I expect from tomorrow. No, in all honesty, I think the race will be fun. Okay, you know what? Let's do it in a way that's easy to clip as well. The Australian GP will be interesting because Verstappen starting from the back, and he's clearly faster than a lot of drivers, which means that we will find out how good these cars are in terms of following and how easy they are to overtake. So, overtake mode, boost mode, straight mode, everything will be on full demonstration tomorrow with Max Verstappen being the chief demonstrator. That is always a good sign.
Yes, overtake and boost mode. Let's see how they're going to use it. I'm even, so if Max is out of place, I would say even Carlos Sainz is out of place, and you know how cheeky he can be to try and engineer a result for himself. So that's definitely to look forward to. The new start. We are eager to see what the start is going to be like. We finally got to see today what single lap pace from these 2026 cars are and how much of an advantage Mercedes has on all of them. Tomorrow we will get to see how good these cars are in racing conditions and what Mercedes's advantage continues to be. And will they be pushed to actually releasing more power from the units, because I still believe they are holding back. And if they are, 15 seconds ahead of everyone else, which is what everyone's expecting, they're going to turn it down. But one thing I'm very surprised about is there is very little talk about strategy on tires. It's expected to be a two stopper, but the reason why talk on tire strategy is minimal, because strategy is actually all about energy management, because the focus is now going fully on that. I am waiting for that day, and I'm hoping it's tomorrow itself, where we go back to talking about racing in Formula One, Somil.
Yeah, what is like honestly tomorrow in laps and out laps are going to be very interesting. Like, and I want to see how much battery you can harvest while coming into the pit lane. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the braking towards the pit entry is so strong, or you're on the brakes for so long that you're able to harvest enough energy that as soon as you go out of the pits, you have enough battery. Uh, like that, because in laps and out laps are basically the biggest differentiator in the sport, right? Like that's where you decide who comes out on top in like biggest variables. Of course, the entire stint length matters, but if you're able to have a spectacular in lap or a spectacular out lap, it can make a difference. I don't know. Like, will drivers be able to turn it up a notch in those in and out laps? Like we're now about to find out in the race if the drivers will have an extra level of performance there to unlock, because in the old Formula One or in the Formula One of forever, basically, you have a certain performance limit that's limited by tires, aero, fuel, and to some degree the amount of battery you have. Now that battery performance is higher. So I don't know, Kunal. Theoretically, could there be a tier one and a tier two performance, so that when you need it, you can go up to a tier one and just
But
suddenly
that's
take
what we saw,
seven?
even that's what we saw even up until this era, right? That when you're told you're going to, you're told you can pick up the pace, you can use all the rubber you have, so you exit the tire management phase, and then you go into a performance phase to catch up time before you pit.
But then
And
how much faster will it be? Is
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
very
yeah.
curious to see. Like,
Let's see that. Are they obligated to still use two compounds? We've got some questions. Let's take them before we end this stream, Sommel. Yes, they are.
yeah,
Yes. Did Lindblad make a mistake in Q3? Yes, that's seemingly what I felt as well. He didn't get his last lap in Q3, because when he finally was there, he was 1.253 seconds off Lawson. But for him just to be next to Lawson and just to be in Q3 on debut is fantastic. Mercedes, Max was supposed to be or estimated to be 3 tenths behind Mercedes, if not for the software problem. And let's see what that happens. Then what else do we have? We've got a couple of last ones. Will Formula One be there in Hindi? Yes, we will be there on fan
yes.
code. Who is doing the commentary? There's Chetan Narula.
Who is doing the commentary?
Yeah, there's Chetan
Who?
Narula, there's Soumil, Arora, and myself. So we're going to
Kunal
be.
Shah. Mention the name, please.
Thank you. So that's that. And then we actually had Satapati saying, I'm a new Formula One fan and I'm eager to learn from you guys about Formula One. So remember to subscribe to this channel. We are there pretty much all the time talking about Formula One. And we are always happy to have new fans join the sport. We've been there since probably the first Formula One fan was ever had ever taken birth in the world, if I may call it that. And we will be there till the last one and beyond that, Somil, right? What do you say?
When you said first Formula One fan, my mind just went to Bernie Eccleston. Like, guys, do whatever. Just if you guys know Bernie Eccleston or somewhere around, just put a word in his ear, please. I know we know people too who can do that, but come on, let's get Bernie Eccleston on the show. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Kunal, Chetan, and I will be on in the commentary tomorrow. Watch that. If you feel English is your jam, do your thing. But the idea is we just have more languages for everyone, Hindi and Tamil. So it's just more convenient for whoever wants to listen to the Formula One races in their language. So there's no better or worse. You could come back here to the Inside Line F1 podcast after the race and be like, Soumil, Kunal, I didn't listen to Hindi commentary, and that's fine too, because we just want you to enjoy the sport. And ultimately, we will assemble back here soon after the race to be able to dissect what on earth exactly went down. So we'll see you guys tomorrow at the Inside Line F1 podcast. Make sure you're subscribing to us on Instagram, on YouTube, and also on our personal pages as well, because lots of cool stuff will be there too. Kunal's more active on Twitter. I'm more active on Instagram. And that's that. We will see you guys tomorrow and enjoy the first Grand Prix of the year, guys. Peace out. Bye bye.